Excellent clacking. Thank you, Prue. We got a guest clarion today because the bull market is back.
Oh, damn. Calling it.
Officially. Well, not quite. Actually, World War III started.
Yeah. Yes.
But
Other news.
take what you can get. So anyway, okay, Nick, since we last started chatting, look, things were looking bad, and now World War III started, but Bitcoin is up. So I'm not sure what to make of this now.
Yeah, what can you make of it? I think it is telling that the Bitcoin price hasn't continually crashed lower and lower. A lot of people are expecting that. If you sort of trying to model this thing off previous... Actually, Jared, can we get my first image that I put up? Yeah, if we're trying to... Yeah, that's... Wow, look at that. So quick. This is sort of like a graph of previous bear markets and how deep they go. And you can see sort of the one that we're doing right now, which is the furthest to Lee's head on your screen, is not even close to the other ones. So, which kind of made me think, because we've had so much of this fear and greed. Like we've been in the extreme levels of fear for a record time, I believe, and in this market, and yet we're 47% drawdown from the all-time highs. We're not even close to the 70s, 80s, 90s that we've done before, the greatest hits. Thank you. Yeah, so like what's going on? Why is there this big disconnect between the fear and greed, like the sentiment in the market, and what's actually happening in the price, which is, not even close to what it I would imagine it should be at these kind of
my
levels.
views on the fear and greed index.
Which is you don't know anything about it. Yes, that's true.
Because there's nothing worth lowing. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. I mean, we're now I think we were at like 4 or 5 or something for a while, which is the lowest we've seen in a long time. We're now at something like 14, so we're 3 times higher. Bitcoin price isn't 3 times higher. It's maybe 10% higher, which is still a good number. I'll take 10%. But yeah, why is this disconnect? Now, my thoughts.
Yes.
Thanks for asking. Altcoins are probably a big one, I reckon. So yes, Bitcoin's only down 47%, but if you look at altcoins, they are just destroyed. Like, most of them are just totally destroyed, never coming back. I think they're going to be, as everyone says, it's sort of common wisdom. They're obviously going to be pockets of outperformance, and the altcoins are sort of have this, beta play on Bitcoin. Even Ethereum, and the big guys still have this beta play on Ethereum.
What do you think of some of the the major altcoins? What do you think of and I'm not talking about the L1s. I'm talking about things like more not obscure, but like Hype, for example, like all these
Hype's
projects.
L1.
But thank you.
Yeah, I was trying to
You
think of what's an example.
You can see my head. I'm talking about, I guess, not necessarily L1s, or outside the major ones. I guess, let me rephrase this. Like outside of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, the more household brand names.
Yeah.
But when we moved further on the speculative scale of proof of concepts, like Hype, for example, I guess it's working. But you know what I mean? Like legitimate projects, but they're not going to. How did these guys catch a bid?
Yeah. And I think it's just time in market at this stage. You just got to prove yourself and make sure you get the market share. So Hype is a great example. And we've been hearing a lot about Hype versus Lighter recently. So Lighter is a Ethereum L2, I believe, competitor to Hype. So Hyperliquid is built on its own completely bespoke kind of layer 1, custom built specifically for high frequency trading and liquidations and all that kind of stuff, and it works well. Lighter is its own L2. It's not custom built for liquidations and all that kind of stuff. It's still just an L2 on Ethereum, but it has, a bunch of really fancy tech in there that allows it to be used in the same kind of way. And Lighter, for a while was looking good. And there was the big, liquidation event that happened in October 10 or whatever it was last year. And that really brought Lighter to the forefront because they kind of handle liquidations a bit differently. Fast forward to today, Lighter is actually pretty much going downhill as far as I can tell. Unfortunately, because it's good to have competition in the market, but Hyperliquid is just eating its lunch. And so, it's hard. And how do you pick between the two? Because both are reasonable, options, I think.
But one's got to win. You probably can't have both.
Why not?
Well, there's only so much, I guess, volume and liquidity to go around. These things are inherently, I guess, speculative is not quite the word. Experimental is probably a better word, right? And it's like, there can only be one. A bit like, you could still look, if you wanted to go back to 1999 and choose, well, should I choose Google or should I choose Alta Vista? Should I use Ask Jeeves? At the time, you'd be like, why can't there be more than one? But like in the reality is you kind of get to a point where like one is the clear winner and everyone kind of uses it. One turns into a verb, the other's just
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
try and sneak their way onto your device.
Sorry, what was that?
Isn't competition good?
I think
No,
competition is
competition's great.
definitely good. No, but I agree with you. I'm not sure if the Google analogy is quite right, but I think in this case, with something like Hyperliquid versus Lighter, the money is probably going to go where people can make the most money out of it and feel the safest and have the best chance of not getting liquidated unfairly and not losing their funds unfairly. And for a while, it seemed like I thought that that Lighter was. And I didn't look too deeply into this, so I don't want to hang my hat on this, but it seemed like Lighter was doing the right thing in terms of liquidations, and they were liquidating in a more fair manner. But Hyperliquid, even if they weren't, allegedly liquidating as fairly, they probably made more money for the market makers and the liquidity providers and the other people who were taking the other side of the bet, I suppose. Sure. And so there were people making more money, even if it wasn't the mum and dad traders on there. Sure. But I think if one platform has clearly got more liquidity and it's fairer, blah blah blah, then money will flow there. Like there's no reason, there's no sort of Hyperliquid's full, better start. And the rest.
We've run out of trades. We can't.
Yeah, that's right.
We're full of trades. Sorry, no more trades. Okay, so super interesting stuff. To maybe make it back to a bit more macros level of what's going on in the market right now. Can we maybe just cover off on like World War III and Bitcoin being up? Is this, is there like a big change here, or is it short covering? Like what's your takes on why we're seeing actually, Bitcoin, I guess, pare back some losses? Yeah,
I've seen both sides of the argument actually. So from one side, I saw sort of the move seemed to be really spot driven. Like there was no massive open interest increases, but then there's other articles out there saying this is all derivatives and people covering their shorts or whatever. And so I don't know the truth of it all. Why is it happening holistically? I guess people are sort of feeling like the risk is a bit off now. The Ayatollah is dead, and maybe
is he?
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Like there seems to be like no one's the Americans and the Israelis have said he's dead, but I've seen on X, which is the source of all things true, that no, he's not dead at all. He's alive and well.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard that.
I assume he's actually dead, but I'm just saying, X
is still fine. They just drag out this body. I don't know. Like I think obviously, maybe not obviously, but the war's going to drag on. This is a moonshot geopolitical edition. The war's going to drag on.
We definitely should not strain to geopolitical because we barely know what's going on in the things we do know.
That's right. This is not my core competency. I think the war's going to drag on for a lot longer. So maybe this little pop that we've had this morning is not going to last. I don't know. There's a lot of people talking about bottom signals, and I think we've sort of probably something to do harking back to the fear and greed index stuff we just spoke about. People have been so bearish for a while and sentiment has been so down. People seem to be jumping on the fact that, okay, that's got to be it, right? Like we've done our dash and now it's
things
up
are so
only
bad.
From here. So I don't know. Like I still feel like there's more downside. As you saw from that chart we showed just before, we've had a 47% drawdown in price, which is just not the norm. Like we need to go further if we're going to continue following the same cycles that have happened in the past. And thus far the cycle theory is proven out, right? The top of the market is exactly where it was last time. So
we are going to keep things high level today. So let me start off with a somewhat of an apology. Jared, can you bring up? I said last week that your clip about getting detailed in the weeds only got 46 views.
Yeah.
Well, I was incorrect. Well, Jared, now it's going to be the longest apology ever because it's not queued up. But I owe you an apology. You know why? Because it's going to pop up. No, you got 47 views.
Listen, I blame Jared for this one. Who wants to listen to what is BIP 360? Instead of titling it that, it should be something like, quantum mechanics. What does this mean for your kids? Like something, like imagine how many views we'd get if you actually put a proper title on it. No one even knows what BIP 360 is. No one knows what BIP is. I feel like I was hard done by on this one.
Well, look, today we're going to talk at high level about things we don't understand at all, being mostly geopolitical issues. So good luck. Hopefully we'll get more views on it.
You know, it is amazing that we live in this part of the world and we can, you know, we're so glib about this whole thing, joking about World War III and whatnot. But we don't have to worry about, you know, missiles hitting us.
Very true.
Just incredible. Like, we're so lucky.
Yeah, we are very lucky.
In Nick's defense, the video that we posted, the exact same video with a different thumbnail, which was on screen now, that got well over 1,000 views. So the content is there.
They're just absorbing the knowledge.
Well, no, I mean, for people who are living in the Middle East right now, like I guess on the serious note, we do had to say, look, you know, hopefully everyone, you know, the best wishes to everyone, because like in fact I saw one of my good friends who works in Dubai now, an Aussie who's over there, posted like a YouTube Instagram clip because they're 100 meters behind the building they were having dinner in. You know, one of the drones struck there, and it brings it very close to home when you think, oh, actually, this is a serious matter. So we will try and avoid the glib.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to other glib news, which is the state of the crypto market. So reasons for optimism. Let's change this. Let's change this around. Let's get rid of the glib, because there is some reasons for optimism. Now, if I can summarize it, there is some report out there. Bitwise CIO Matt Hogan, if I pronounced that correctly, has been out there saying fundamentals are better than ever. But if I look at kind of the commentary from Tom Lee and some other market commentary, for example, ETH has given back 90% of its bull market gains. So we're kind of saying, hey, it's so bad. It must be good now.
Can I jump in?
Oh, yes, you definitely can. And also, my strategy is now one of the most shorted stocks.
Yep.
Which makes investors like our takeaway is, man, things are that bad.
Yeah, this is.
It can only be good.
Yeah, you and I are on the same brainwave here, because so I had a look at what Tom Lee is basically calling out and saying, look, guys, we're at the bottom, and he's going, but I'm not just saying that. I've got some reasons. So his reasons are, I just wrote them down here. So reason number one, ETH's realized price is negative 22%. That's it. Like that. Apparently, there's no further numbers down that can go. There's no lower than 22. There's no negative 23%. 22 is the bottom.
Really?
That's
wow.
number one reason. Number two, ETH's price has dropped 90%. Again, also that's so like it can go to 91. It can continue. Anyway, reason number three, 15 years ago, the S&P bottomed in March. And guess what month we're in now?
March.
We're in March, so therefore ETH's bottomed.
Mm-hmm.
Reason number four, strategy, which has nothing to do with ETH, is now the most shorted company in the world. Number five, when bad news happens, the price doesn't fall. Now, this isn't true right now. He's just thinking about things that might be true in the future. But because right now, when bad news happens, the price definitely goes down. But he's thinking, guys, imagine a situation where it doesn't fall, therefore we're at the bottom. And number six, in the past, every time ETH went down, guess what happened next? It went up. These are the reasons that Tom Lee is grasping at straws. He's like, guys, I swear it's the bottom. And here's my thesis. Anyway, I was lolling. Each new point as I was reading, I was like, you can't be serious.
You know, there's a cliche that pops to mind, Nick, and it's always darkest before the dawn. I think we went through this last week.
I mean, that's what he's basing his whole strategy on, though, right? Like this whole billion, or is he on the billions now? I don't know how much he's invested.
Well, he bought more, and strategies bought more.
He must be in the billions because he
bought more.
Yeah, he bought like 90 million or something recently. So yeah, he's got to be so deep in this thing, and he's basing this strategy on it's always darkest before the dawn. But
do you have a better strategy?
But it can keep getting darker. That's the problem. We have no measure for dark. Like it's not absolutely pitch black in this situation.
No. So someone just needs to work out when dawn is. Then we're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe Ted Pillows has got some ideas.
Ted, we haven't heard from Ted in ages.
Yeah, he appeared in this market update actually.
Can we go straight to him?
So Ted Pillows regurgitated the we've had 5 down months in a row, 5 red months in the candles, and he's like, this isn't good. And that was it. He had no OPM at all, which is unusual for Ted. Usually he is quite an upbeat guy. But.
Oh dear. Well, fundamentals has never been better.
Yeah, yes. According to
Matt Hogan.
And Matt Hogan.
Well, some other news. So, look, fundamentals are great, according to Meta. So, Meta has announced plans to integrate third-party stablecoin wallets. Well, look, and payments into its platform in the second half of this year. Now, I can't see who the comments from, but I think that a lot of people are probably sharing the sentiment that World War III better pump my bags. Thank you.
Yeah, which is...
Someone has definitely... I can't see who, but thank you for commenting. Now, this is where like people are like, come to me like, oh, man, people want to know what's going to pump their bags. And I go, but, there's a real bright spot in crypto right now, which is, stablecoins. But truly it is.
If you like 3% yield, imagine 4% yield.
Imagine no volatility until you get depegged, of course.
Yes. Imagine being capped at the upside, but having unlimited downside.
Well, ask. Well, we're going to get into it later because ask the good people of Terraform Labs what they think about Jane Street depegging their stablecoin. We'll touch on that. But
hint, they didn't like it.
But look, fundamentals are great, all right? But anyway, look, I'm going to come back to this because I think the stablecoin stuff, if you're interested in where the next iteration of use case for crypto is going to be, it already is in stablecoins and it's already happening. And
I like that. Where's it next? Well, it already is. Okay, so I want to know what's next, though.
Oh, okay, good point. Well, after stablecoins have done their thing, I guess people are going to be like, what does this mean for my ETH bags?
Yes.
What does it mean for my Bitcoin bags? And the answer is, I have no idea.
No. I mean, Ethereum is sort of carving itself out as the stablecoin platform of choice. Having said that, I think Tron actually overtook Ethereum and USDT a few weeks back maybe, which was very interesting. I don't know if it's still there or not. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully ETH catches a bid at some point. The problem is they just keep making it cheaper and cheaper to transact on the platform. So, gas is less and less required these days. What used to cost you hundreds of dollars is costing you cents. However, layer 2s have kind of been gutted by Vitalik recently as well. Did you hear about that?
Yes.
So Vitalik kind of came out and said, yeah, layer 2s, what is your point for existing? If you're just trying to be, faster and cheaper than Ethereum, think again, mother. I nearly went there. Think again, guys, because Ethereum's, now faster and cheaper than you kind of thing. Not quite, but it's fast and cheap enough that it doesn't need, the L2s that are just trying to be fast and cheap aren't good enough anymore. And you need something like Lighter, for example, like a specific purpose for having an L2. And I guess, if that means that a bunch of L2s die off and the transactions there come back to the main net, okay, there's a bit more revenue there, like for, fees and whatnot, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. We need some kind of catalyst.
Well, we need some catalyst for price action. I guess we have been on this theme now for months, and we have been talking about the boring stuff, the quiet stuff, the plumbing, so to speak. Where, for example, and this is one of the stories that came out. So Morgan Stanley has applied for basically a license, a charter to custody digital assets, which would include filed for Bitcoin, Ether, Solana ETFs. Have I misread that? Anyway, and I've also partnered with Zero Hash to enable crypto trading. So that was a terrible way to introduce this topic. But anyway, just live with it because that's what I've done. But anyway, I guess when we talk about the boring stuff, this is all kind of stuff that's been quietly going on. It doesn't grab headlines. It definitely doesn't pump the bags. But it shows that, the serious money, the large, more conservative wealth managers are investing in access to their clients because they take the view that these things are going to be around. And if you take the view that it's going to be around, presumably you think that there is value and utility, and it's not just because you're not going to spend all this money for it to go to zero. As in,
yeah, definitely.
Right.
They think there's longevity in the system.
Right. And this is what's the word? Inductive way of thinking. There is still sentiment shouldn't be as bearish as it is when people are now fully providing, committing their own capital into the future infrastructure for this industry,
so
these assets.
Are you going to tell the market they're wrong? Like, you guys are wrong. Stop being so bearish. Who's going to tell them?
Well, I don't know. You can tell them.
I think you can.
Jared, do you want to do it?
Yeah,
okay. No, fix the market.
Just send out a note. Yeah, this is an interesting one too, I thought, because I'm not sure if those long-term listeners and readers of our market update will probably remember that we've spoken about this before. It wasn't Morgan Stanley though; it was from memory, like Boney Mellon were doing custody, and that kind of was exciting to me. I was like, oh crap! Like, one of the biggest banks in the US, if not the biggest, I don't know, is doing crypto custody. What's the deal here? And it's a different, it's a sort of different way that they're doing it. So Morgan Stanley are using this new OCC. They're creating a new entity using some OCC regulation, Office of the Comptroller of Currency.
Oh, that's right. The comptroller,
Yeah. Which discovered comptroller is for
Fancy.
government and controller is for private or something like that. Yeah. So they're doing it through a different way. So Boney Mellon have done it, have got sort of an exclusion from the SEC, and they said, yep, you can do it when we're no objections to what you're trying to do here. Whereas these guys are trying to do it through a different kind of licensing regime. So which is better? I don't know, but I don't care, to be honest. The fact that they're both trying to do this thing is what's exciting to me. However, when do we actually see it? When does it actually happen? When can people store their Bitcoin at Boney? I don't know.
These things take time. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so look, that was probably the least exciting article that we have to go through, and was probably the worst way to introduce it. So let's do better with this next article, which is people debating around the role of Jane Street's impact on the markets. Now, this is getting a little bit salacious, because there are some pretty interesting theories out there suggesting that a lot of the Bitcoin's drawdown, in fact, some of the biggest drawdowns in crypto history, being namely the depegging of Terra Luna's stablecoin, had to do with market manipulation off the back of a particular group's trading, Jane Street. They've been named. So what's interesting about this, lots. First of all, they're sort of saying that, hey, Jane Street has more or less manipulated markets, and in particular the Bitcoin market, by attacking sort of the low liquidity openings to try and push it down to buy it back. But in this case here, they're just pushing it down.
Yeah, yeah. They're forgetting part 2 of their plan.
Part 2 is to buy it cheap.
Yeah, they're not buying anything. Yeah, this one's kind of been going around. There's a lot of, pearl clutching when it first came out, as people were yelling about, you can see this thing. Some guy's drawn a bunch of circles around the price and claimed that this is all Jane Street. First of all, it's impossible to tell. Like, Jane Street don't, no one telegraphs their trades like this. It'd be stupid. Well, they're not a trader. They're just, but no one will do that. So we don't know. It's just some guy suggesting. Secondly, like, if this allegation came out where the trust that's managing Terraform Labs, the guys who are in administration,
they've come out swinging too. Yep,
they came out and accused Jane Street of causing the Terra USD, what was it called, Luna crash back in 2022, I think. They basically said, these guys ripped liquidity out and they had insider information or insider knowledge. Don't know exactly what they had, but apparently they knew something was going to happen. Actually, maybe it was something to do with, so Terraform Labs also pulled liquidity. They were apparently going to put it somewhere else, but they weren't fast enough, apparently. And then at the same time, Jane Street pulls their liquidity, allegedly, and caused the big spiral down and the loss of $40 million or whatever it was. And so now they're saying, the second that the Terraform Labs trust administrator has accused Jane Street of doing this, then Jane Street suddenly go, we better stop our market manipulation. Like, what?
We won't do it today because we've been accused.
because someone accused us of something. Doing. Now, at this point, what I'm saying, I feel sounds ridiculous, right? They would no serious company would do this, but and I probably should have checked this before I'm saying this, but Jane Street seemed to have deleted all of their tweets.
Yeah.
What?
Like, and now were there tweets before? I did have a look at the site and there were no tweets there, but were there tweets before? I didn't check that. There were
some deleted. Yeah.
Some. There was nothing when I checked. Like, literally an empty account. Yeah. So that is that's very guilt. Like, that's something a guilty guy would do, if you ask me. Now, again, I'm not saying they're guilty.
Just like the way your browser history is always wiped.
Yeah, that's right. I start fresh every day. It's just makes things run faster. So I don't know. There's them two sides to this story. Realistically, I don't think the whole 10 a.m. theory. So the theory was that at 10 a.m., Jane Street would always dump the market, for their own benefit somehow. As you say, like, it kind of often got dumped and didn't recover. So how would that help them? A, B, a bunch of people have done some more analysis on this and they've gone, no, it doesn't line up. What you're saying doesn't make sense. So
anecdotally, I'll write the newsletter starting at 10 a.m. Every Tuesday, and the prices that get submitted to me are always higher than the prices that I have to do after 10 a.m.
But remember, it's not 10 a.m. It's 10 a.m. US time or whatever. It's not.
Whatever. Anyway, that's my...
Yeah, nice. Thanks, Jared.
When you wake up at 3 a.m, it's probably close for those ideas.
Yeah.
That's usually when it's close to dead. Anyway.
10 a.m. Sydney time. Yeah, the whole world watches as 10 a.m. Sydney comes up.
All right, question time.
Skynet.
Skynet, thank you for the question. And this is actually really interesting. I like this question. The wallet, I'll read it out for everyone. So the wallet software apps seem to be the real battleground for getting customers. Curious as to what you guys think are the best self-custody wallets. Look, Nick, you deal with a lot more self-custody wallets than probably I do. So I'll let you answer the best ones if you're going to put your name behind a particular brand. But the one thing I would say about this is the software wallet, software app stuff, wallet software stuff is probably, I think just generally is a really interesting part as remember when you first were dealing with MetaMask in 2021, 2022, it would have been really hard to onboard non-crypto enthusiasts / natives into that system and have them understand what the heck's going on, right? And I feel like once we get more and more into people using crypto for what it was intended for in this sort of decentralized world, the first step out of the exchanges is going to be into wallets, right?
We can, yep.
And they need to be as intuitive and user friendly as possible. And I think even people like the well-known ones like MetaMask have made big improvements in the way they've gone about making their interface a little bit more user-friendly. But I feel like there's still a long way to go.
I would argue that it's gone backwards, actually. I reckon MetaMask is more difficult now to use than I remember. Like, I don't use MetaMask that often these days. I spent, a couple of years in the trenches, and that was fun using MetaMask. But these days when I get it, like they've made all the different chains viewable in one screen. So now suddenly I've got a bunch of ETH and I don't know where it is. I'll have to sort of deep dive to figure out which chain it's on. And I find it actually more difficult. I remember when I first used MetaMask back whenever, and I was just blown away by how it could hook into a website and the money was kind of there and the website could use that, what's it called, an extension on your browser to view your wallet details. Cool. And I was like, man, this is incredible. However, I'm a tech guy, like that's kind of my wheelhouse. So yes, how do the mum and dads do it? It's interesting you say that actually, because there is talk recently where, and we might get to this chat later, but Vitalik is talking about wallet abstraction. So that's something that's coming up in the Ethereum ecosystem. They've been talking about it for a while actually. And I to be honest, thought it was already out, but the way he's saying is like, we hope to get it out later this year. And I'm like, okay, so we don't have it yet. I haven't been paying close attention, but wallet abstraction allows you to do stuff that's much more user-friendly for the end user to be able to use this stuff. And I think that'll really help. In terms of Skynet's question, generally look, our general sort of company view is that we don't make recommendations on this stuff just because, if you use some wallet that we like and then you get hacked because of that wallet's incompetence, then we've sort of recommended, it's not a great situation. Personally, I've used, the hardware wallets, the ledgers and the Trezor quite a lot. So interestingly, just anecdotally, Ledger, as much as everyone hates Ledger because they keep leaking everyone's information, which is not a good thing, the Ledger wallet ecosystem is definitely better in my opinion. So they just are attached to more software wallets. Like if you're using some crypto that Ledger doesn't know about specifically, there's no specific Ledger app for it. There's usually an easy way to get Ledger connected to whatever L1 or whatever is the software wallet for that L1. Whereas with Trezor, it doesn't work that way. Like even simple things like Solana, you can't, one of the big wallets on Solana is Phantom, and you can't connect Phantom to a Trezor.
Yeah, okay.
Which really surprised me. I was like, what are you talking about? Like Trezor's, the number 2 of the hardware wallets kind of thing, and you can't connect it. I haven't really gone down the route of the Bitcoin only wallets. I know there's a big space there. You've got, your cold cards and all that kind of stuff. I haven't really looked at those too much, but there's some interesting platforms and solutions there that you can use.
What about the difference, I guess, between standalone desktop apps and your browser extensions? Because I know that a lot of the safety concerns comes from the browser extension wallets. I personally have lost a bit of money from dodgy browser extensions. So.
And that's because your ADA bags went down.
Yeah, you didn't lose anything. The number's still the same. The value has gone down. Yeah. No, it's a good question. In the end, like all they're doing is storing a seed phrase, and whether it's in your browser cache or whether it's in your app data on your computer, what's the difference? Not much really. Having it on the browser definitely makes it easier to transact with, but then conversely it makes it easier for you to accidentally allow a website to control your funds. Most of these wallets obviously won't let you do something until you actually click a button. Installing a browser extension is, I would say, less potentially harmful than installing an actual application on your computer. Installing an application on your computer, you're potentially giving it access to everything on your computer. Kind of, you can get to rootkit level stuff there if you really are installing something really bad that can access. Suddenly it can read the passwords you're typing into any application, not just browsers. Whereas a browser extension doesn't have that kind of level of access, but it can still do bad stuff. You can lose your money, blah blah blah.
What level of auditing does Google, for example, do on those browser extension? Well, I mean, they can't look at it from a code perspective on chain, but I mean, they're looking at it from a malicious tech perspective on the operating system.
I mean, it's like a virus thing. They'll have patterns they look out for and things that don't seem right, but they don't. I don't think. I've never written a browser extension. I don't think they actually go in and it's not like the App Store, with the Android App Play Store or the Apple App Store, where there is actually a review process, like a review on the apps done before they get published. I don't know how it works on extensions. There are a lot of extensions I can't imagine they would be able to do it. I don't know, it seems like an impossible task. Having said that, like things like AI make this much more easy now, right? To review in much greater detail these kind of things and try and figure out the intent of an extension rather than what it just looks like it says it does, kind of thing. I would generally say the extensions are safer, overall, but they do make things easier. You get kind of lulled into a false sense of security and make things easier to go wrong, I suppose.
Yeah, but I guess the big takeaway from all this stuff is, does the end result make the experience easier for the average or the new coming enjoyer, right? At the end of the day, the technical integration stuff is fascinating for probably the earlier adopters, but like later on, it's just going to be like, can you button mash and things will work?
Yeah, but with great power comes great responsibility, right? As soon as you're working, look at any of the bank apps you have on your phone or bank, websites and interfaces that you use. They're all pretty secure, right? There's a bunch of things you have to do. Like if I try to log into CommBank now, I have to click a thing on my phone before it even lets me in, which is really annoying, but kind of makes me confident that at least I know someone who's going to hack me has to have access to my phone as well. I don't know. Like I think we need to do our best to make sure people feel safe, because if they continually feel like it's just the Wild West when they're using crypto stuff, then they're never going to go in. They're never going to take it seriously. You know what I mean?
Oh, couldn't agree more. Sorry, I guess my point was more around the actual experience for using.
But my point is related to that. So I think if you make it so easy that it's easy to lose money, then that's probably not a good thing.
Yeah,
I think there's a limit where you need to go, look, no, this is serious stuff. This is real money now. It's not just magical internet money. You need to, yes, maybe it's a little bit difficult, but that's by design. You need to pay attention. You need to know what you're doing. We can't just make this so easy a 3-year-old can go buy a car kind of thing.
And that's totally fair. I absolutely agree. Well, that leads into the vibe coding session we're going to do next about Ethereum's roadmaps. So Vitalik has been out there, believes AI coding could massively accelerate their 2030 roadmap. And in fact, some developers have come out and done some impressive amount of work, probably full of bugs and nonsense, but they did it.
Yeah.
And they showed that you can write a lot of code that mostly works, I guess, just vibe coding.
Yeah. This thing is so interesting from different aspects. Like for me, it's okay. So the guy coded up the 2030 roadmap, which is a cool idea. So basically, Ethereum has this roadmap of the things they're going to achieve over the next 3 years, I suppose, 4 years. And this guy
2023, so 4 years.
2030, yeah. And this guy just went, okay, AI, do it. And just like walk away for, was it 2 weeks, I think, he let the AI just run for, and it built a bunch of stuff. And, there was mistakes, and it iterated and fixed stuff and whatever. And there's still probably a bunch of mistakes, but at the moment it seems to largely work. And this one guy has just gone away and done this. And they've got this whole huge team of developers. But this guy's done this, built this whole thing, 2 weeks of code, 700,000 lines of code in there. And it cost him something like $5,000 or $6,000.
This compression of like development time is incredible. And I saw I was reading something interesting about this, going that, it wasn't that long ago, 10 years ago, like even to build like basic apps, photo sharing apps and stuff took, 6 months and $500,000. That has been compressed
to one guy with
vibe coding with AI.
Yeah. And the cost to do this is just nothing. This is going to change the world. I've been speaking to a bunch of guys in the office. AI, we're doing AI stuff here in Penn Reserve as well, 100%. We're using it in all different aspects of the company. I think everyone's kind of looking over their shoulder going, wow, could my whole job be done here or not?
And I'm not even, when are they going to replace us?
Yeah, we could just become AI, I suppose.
I can be the clacker and I can watch an AI bot do my job for me.
Yes.
I assume I still get paid for it.
Yeah, for the clacking. Where does it stop? We've seen, who was it, Square last week fire 4,000 or 5,000 people out of their 10,000 staff, like almost half of their staff just gone in one day.
Is that because people weren't showing up to work though?
Well, I've got some theories about this if you want to go into it.
Yeah, I do.
So for those who don't know, Square now called Block, who own the Square Payments app. They own Cash App. They've got Weebly. There's a few others. They've got it's Jack Dorsey's new business, well not new, but it's his kind of current baby. After he stepped down from Twitter, has fired 4,000 something people from their staff and basically said, look, we're going to replace you all with AI. There's still obviously 6,000 staff there, so there's still a lot of people there. But that's 4,000, and this is just one of these kind of. It feels foreboding to me. It feels like, this is the first company that's doing this, but it is definitely not going to be the last.
Citrini was right.
Yeah. And in fact, the longer you wait to do something like this, the more behind you're going to get. And we look at things like, did we speak about this last week? I can't remember. Atlassian's share price as well. If you look at that, that's sort of, over the last year, it's down like 70 or 80% or something crazy like that. And that's kind of off the back of people thinking, wow, AI is just...
need them anymore.
They're going to get crushed by this whole AI thing. And so what's their next step going to be? Well, it's probably going to be firing 4,000 of their 10,000 staff, Like they've got to follow suit or get left behind. And more companies are going to do stuff like this. Anyway.
So at what point is just AI just dealing with other AI? And like you've got one AI business dealing with another AI business, and it's just like... Imagine if AI was running like... what happens when AI is running like scam calls and they're just connecting with other AI agents who are like pretending to be me? And it's just AI scamming AI.
And does your AI have to pretend to do what you would do? So
and so my AI is like, wow, and this real humans really give me a stick. And then like the AI bot's like, man, this other... because they won't know their AI yet. They're just in an infinite doom loop of them going, yes, you are right. Yes, you are right. Great question. Yes,
but do you think your AI... would, even though it knows it's a scam call, regardless of whether it's AI or not, it knows it's a scam call, has to go, well, what would Lee do in this situation? No, he would probably get scammed. So it would then let itself get scammed.
Well, this is a great question. I'm glad we've gone down this rabbit hole of going, what will the AI do when the AI is talking to other AI? And the AI is thinking it's me, and the other AI is thinking it's some scammer on the other end of the line, and they're both just going at it.
Listen, so let me get back. Let's get off. That's fun to think about. Hopefully it doesn't end up like that. Then what's that movie with the little robot? It's like a Disney movie. Wall-E, yeah. And like all the humans are just this like fat guys, in those mobility machines because they've got nothing else to do with their lives. They're just sitting there living it up. I don't know. So here's my theory, by the way. So with the what's it called? Block layoffs. So Jack Dorsey stepped down from Twitter. Elon Musk bought it. Whatever, or Elon Musk bought it after he stepped down, but basically he was the Twitter guy, right? And Elon Musk took over, and Elon Musk is like, this place is full of nonsense, and Elon Musk fired a whole bunch of people. Remember that?
So maybe it's just Jack Dorsey just rolling with nonsense.
Exactly. I'm wondering if he builds these companies up with so much fat in them, And then he watched Elon Musk just fire everyone, and Twitter is still just as good as it was before. So basically, right? It's everyone uses it. It's an incredible source of news. And he's like, oh crap, is this my legacy? And so then he's just gone, I'm going to preempt this one, and fires 4,000 people from Block.
Then he can sell it.
And it makes sense because at this time he's like, well, we've got AI, we can actually do this. Like it's not just gutting the company and going to be horrible for productivity. We can actually increase productivity as long as we keep the right people.
Yeah, I remember reading an article purporting to be like a dev or something at I guess formerly Twitter before Elon Musk came through, and he was kind of like, oh sweet, Elon's here, I can just rip into my former boss. And he was basically saying Jack Dorsey, being the kind of like a bearded hippie that he is, was, sorry Jack if you're listening, which I know you're not, but if you are, I'm hang out with you sometime or something like. But anyway, so basically saying that like he would go on like some ayahuasca retreat, meet some guy, and was just like, hanging out with him, be like, oh, you want a job? And so the place was just full of just like random people he had met and just like chilled with. Yeah, okay. And it's like he just gave him jobs. And even the engineer were like, this guy here has got no qualifications other than being Jack's tripping buddy from a trip to Peru. Do you know what I mean? And now he's head of marketing or chief vibe officer, or you know what I mean? So like, I'm just saying your theory maybe has some legs.
Anyway, like that's kind of the positive view on it, but the reality is I don't think this is just Jack gutting a company that was full of fat. I think we're going to see a lot more companies downsizing and just using AI, especially when it's so cheap, as we discussed. Like, this guy wrote 700,000 lines of code and did a 4-year roadmap in 2 weeks and spent $7,000 on it. It's not like he, pumped millions of dollars into this thing to get it done quickly. He spent a fraction of the cost and spent a fraction of the time. And, sure, it might not be perfect, but it's probably pretty good. Like they probably don't have to spend 3 years fixing everything.
Well,
I'm guessing.
Getting back to the Wally thing, and now we're just going to talk randomly about these ideas. Like, for example, in Wally, they've already dealt with this issue. AI is running the place. Humans just get fat and useless, but they're still like the robots are doing all the work, so it's fine. Like, okay, so we've got a genuine huge compression of the time and money it will take to develop new apps. So humans aren't just going to disappear because, like, there's not as much money being made in development, for example, software development. So wouldn't I guess people kind of coalesce around the new reality of like building stuff's cheap and easy, so we can use this cheap and easy development capacity now to go and create a better productivity goes through the roof. Yeah, it is. Everyone's like, oh well, like humans aren't needed anymore. But it's like everything they're doing is still for the humans.
For now, yeah.
Well, until Terminator becomes reality.
Singularity.
No,
I agree. Like, there's the productivity is going through the roof. What does this mean for us as humans? Are we just going to all live these blessed lives now where we don't have to do much? No, according to Jared.
Too many people are self-interested. Someone has to make a profit.
Yeah, I agree. Like, the ambition, you can't keep ambition down, and people are going to want to rise above the.
Unless the AI superintelligence is basically invented or brought about by a philanthropist, we're all going to become consumers again. In some way, shape or form. Yeah.
Anyway. No. I am also scared and intrigued about what's coming down the path in the next 5-10 years. Mm-hmm. At the moment, I'm in the twilight of my life, so I'm fine. Don't have to worry about it.
Importantly, does this mean crypto will be up or down?
Interesting comment from Skynet. He goes, one of the social changes AI will create is that liars and bullshitters will be discovered in real time. You can no longer BS your way through life.
I totally agree.
Yeah, I guess if you control a truthful AI, sure. I'm always sort of cynical, like what happens when... like Elon Musk has an idea about, he's got strong beliefs on gender stuff, right? So does he then tell his AI to give his point of view on gender stuff? Like, and that's just a simple example, but, take it to its logical conclusion. Now the Pentagon controls OpenAI, let's say, with that's a whole other thing, like Anthropic and Pentagon and AI. We can talk about that if anyone's interested. So OpenAI have accepted this agreement with the Pentagon and the Department of Defense. So they're now kind of like the Trump AI. And so does what does one thing lead to another, and next minute Trump can do no wrong in the eyes of OpenAI? I don't know, because that's scary. As long as AI is truthful and just does what it says, which is already, I think, proven false. Like, I saw a thing going around recently where it was like they were comparing AI's responses about, it might have been some gender thing actually, where they were like, is transgender people in sport or something? And they just give these different answers, and whether one's right or wrong is kind of irrelevant. The fact is there's no universal truth.
Yeah,
and they all have these biases, and biases are fine if they're mild and don't affect anything. But like, again, taking things to the logical conclusion, it's we're going to end up in this society where you do have to pick and choose your AI depending on the questions you ask, I guess, and. Look, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Well, look, I do like that we cover off on topics we're definitely not qualified to comment on, like World War III and the future of humanity. But we did. Well, one thing, hang on. We are definitely not qualified to comment on this, but I think the pressure from one of your excellent performing clips was talking about the Netherlands bringing in the unrealized capital gains tax. It seems that they have issued an apology on their crap idea and backflipped on bringing in a tax on unrealized gains.
Yes, thank God. Sanity
started a war of words on our YouTube.
Oh, did it?
Oh, yeah.
I feel sanity has prevailed here. Like, it's a ridiculous thing to suggest a tax on unrealized gains. So it sounds like it got through the House, and then when it got voted in the Senate, they kind of realized there was a lot of backlash from everyone. Like, the international community was watching on with bated breath
because everyone's like, this is retarded.
Yeah, and it was like people were kind of watching to see what happened, because if it worked in the Netherlands, then who's next, kind of thing. You know what I mean? That's how I felt.
It still blows my mind that occasionally politicians will float the idea of going, hey, someone's got some gains. You know what? We haven't plucked the goose enough from the actual money they've made. Let's go and take the money they don't yet have.
Yeah, I like, so the government of this one was like, guys, if you don't let us have this tax, we're going to lose like $2 billion. And everyone's like, what? You can't take it from us. Yeah, it's my $2 billion. You don't have it.
I know, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like, rich people were going to leave. People were going to find ways around it. Everyone's going to hate Netherlands. Like, it was just going to be such a capital outflow, like, and probably this huge brain drain on the country. Anyone who's like, you know what, I've got a really good idea here. I'm going to start a company, but not in the Netherlands, that's for sure. I'm going somewhere else.
It's good to know that it's politicians of all stripes just cannot keep their hands off your money. Humanity is consistent, right? In a terrible way, it seems.
So I heard, like, in Australia, they're floating the idea of that. Apparently, there's pressure to reduce the capital gains discount by half, so from 50% to 25%. And they also floated something about making you only be able to do negative gearing on 2 investment properties or something. Yeah. Is this right? Do you know about this?
Look, I've sort of kept across. They're sort of floating ideas now. So it seems long gone are the days where people just kind of wait till budget night and the government just goes, bam, here's our thoughts. Obviously, we've got the budget coming up in May or whatever, so they're like, just throwing it out there
teasers,
beforehand. Yeah. Here's some teasers. Let's see what the vibe is on this one here.
Yeah,
what kind of blowback do we get? But my understanding, and again, don't quote me on this, because it's not even law yet. It's just like, I think it's just Labor going out there going, hey, let's throw out a few ideas. Yes, some reductions in capital gains. And, the sales pitch that I heard from whoever it was who was talking about, I think it was Chalmers, was sort of saying they recognise that there is intergenerational inequality in the way wealth is distributed, and home ownership and all this kind of stuff is genuinely an issue, an intergenerational issue, and they're trying to look at ways to kind of, I guess, reduce the incentives for people to go out there and buy their second, third, fourth investment property, which I guess if you're trying to reduce the tax incentives on it, you're basically admitting yes, if you want to have less of something, you kind of put more of a tax on it, right? Which is trying to say, let's not encourage more investment into the existing housing stock.
Yeah, but I actually fully agree with the the negative gearing thing.
Well, funnily enough, and I will give you a little bit of history on this, given that I used to work in a tax-related field. When they brought in negative gearing, for property. They actually, the initial, and this is where I can't remember if it was Labor or not, but they kind of said, no, let's not only put on the new builds, right? Let's only put on the new builds. Right. And there was pushback at the time, said, no, we don't want to do that. We'll put it on everything. Right. it's
so
kind of
originally it was supposed to
to be just
incentivize new houses getting built.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was pushback from the lobby, and if I had a better memory, I could tell you exactly why they came back. They end up going. So the initial proposal was no, just put it onto new builds, because they thought, well, that will incentivize people to do it. But they said, no, let's kind of put it on everything. And I can't remember. I can't actually remember if it was the Liberals or the Labor at the time who decided to put on everything. I think it was actually, if memory serves, and definitely fact check this because I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was Labor that said at the time we'd put on just new builds. And I think it was the Liberals.
The Liberals like, but we have already owned a bunch of houses, so and we want to do it too.
So anyone who's out there, someone fact check that for sure. But anyway, that's kind of the gist of it.
Floated the idea of Thanos from Titan says they floated the idea of taxing spare bedrooms.
It was a Victorian idea. There was.
Was it?
But there's often, I get that there needs some genuine reform in the tax system, right? There is, I think we can probably all agree there is intergenerational kind of, wealth issues. But some of the ideas of how they've gone out to are just so unworkable in practice. And that's the thing, like at the end of the day, you need reform, but at the same time, you can't come up with these crazy ideas that are just completely unworkable. Yeah. And that's probably seems to be everyone seems to know, I guess the same thing, everyone sees the problem, but no one necessarily knows exactly how to fix it. And hence the debate in politics. But anyway, enough of that. Have we wrapped up all the articles? How are you feeling, Nick?
Yeah, I guess my final thoughts on the Jane Street one is it's sort of, everyone seems to be grasping at straws for why this is something that's spoken about in the market update. Everyone seems to be grasping at straws as to why the price is going down. If you remember back, like first it was, what was it? First, like there was Binance that caused the issue, and then it was Wintermute that caused the issue, and then it was, remember the Japanese, the unnamed Japanese hedge fund was causing the issue, and now it's Jane Street causing. It's like, okay, guys, come on. The Bitcoin price is going down because the 4-year cycle played out exactly as everyone thought it would. And, AI's here and people want to invest in AI probably. And, things are happening and you just got to follow, just
no, Nick,
be
we need a scapegoat.
Yeah, everyone just wants, it to be a specific reason. So we have this V-shaped bounce and we're back up to all-time highs and, next week. And they're like, well, it's because of Jane Street this time. And
people can't handle that they've made the wrong decision.
Yeah,
they need to blame someone.
Oh, it's totally psychological. And everyone's grasping at these straws. Anyway, I'm keen to see what next week will bring, why we're down next week, version 7 or whatever it is. But yeah, it's always fun reading these conspiracy theories and looking at the charts, and people get a bit too, what's that saying? They eat their own. No, they're getting high in their own supply. That's it.
Yes. All right. Well, final comment, Nick, from Skynet, asking bullish, bearish, or neutral. Where are you guys at?
Well, I kind of addressed this at the start. So we're down 47% from all-time highs. That doesn't seem enough historically, especially considering the levels of the fear and greed index. I don't think we've really bottomed. Having said that, the kind of general message I'm telling anyone who asks me this is that if you're buying, Bitcoin at these prices, you're not going to be unhappy. Like these are, you might not get the bottom tick or whatever, the Pico bottom, but I think the prices, it's pretty. I'm incentivized to buy at these prices, kind of thing.
Hey, is the Bitcoin going to zero search number increased, decreased?
Oh yeah,
we should look at that.
I forgot about that.
That's a good stat.
Sorry, go ahead.
If you want to see how bullish I am, oh no, wrong picture. All right, forget it. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah,
professional as always.
In terms of times, though, I think I don't think we've spent enough time. I've mentioned in previous podcasts that we're kind of speed running this bear. It seems to be going very quickly. I'm not sure we need more pain, but we just need. I don't think we can recover just yet. I don't think it's time to start the next bull market. There is some stats saying that it's been 2 years or 23 months since the previous bull market cleared the bear market, the cycle before that's all-time highs, if that makes sense. So about 2 years ago, we were just breaking up through the 67, whatever it was, 69, 70K mark for the first time after the previous all-time high, if that makes sense. So we'd cleared the bear market and we were on our way up to 126 eventually. That happened 2 years ago, and that's kind of that's in itself a bottom signal. But I just still don't think we've spent enough time. I think we've got at least a few months left.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to go full Tom Lee on this one.
Okay.
And, things are good because they're so bad. Well, and if I look back at previous bear market cycles. Like when things felt really bad and you're like, oh, it's going to go down like another 50%. It actually didn't. That was a good time.
Agreed.
Okay, maybe you're not getting the right
Yep.
perfect bottom of the V, but the reality is if you take the view that these assets, good assets are going to be around a long term, even Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett was always talking about buying when blood's on the street. And, blood is on the street. So if you take a long-term view, it seems like, and I'm not giving away financial advice because maybe it can go down another 50%, and that might really hurt you if you need that money. But just saying, in terms of the vibe here, that, as a general approach to investing in assets that you deem to be quality and going to be around for a long period of time, that's when you might be interested in having a look.
No, I agree. And I think even if it doesn't go down, my point is that it's sort of, I don't think we're going to go up yet, but yeah, do we go down further or do we muck around at the current levels? I mean, we've had a bunch of really bad news recently and the price has kind of maintained above 50K, which has been quite impressive from my perspective.
Who's claiming XRP is going to 10x next week? I'd love to see the investment rate.
Thanos from
Never
Tron.
go full-time Lee.
Never go full-time Lee. Well,
if we're speaking about being bullish, that's how bullish I am right now. I'm that pilot in red.
Are we sharing this?
Leroy Jenkinsing it across the Middle East. Leroy Jenkins.
Is that up on the screen? The one? Yeah. Oh man, that.
Yeah, there's a guy. I'm going to save $1,500 of fuel.
Balls on that pilot right now.
Yeah, I really wouldn't want to be in between Iran and Israel right now. But good on him. That's commitment.
Good on him.
I hope he enjoyed that extra 45 minutes of time saving.
Yeah.
No, it's probably more than that. Anyway. Alrighty. Well, we have covered all the big issues today. We've solved none of them, but we have covered them. And we probably won't cover them next week. We could have even touched on clarity and said, hey, look, no news still. But we didn't.
You just did.
No, I didn't. See what I did there? All right. So what do we have to... Any plugs for this week, Jared?
Any clubs?
Plugs. Anything? Any plugs we need to...
I wasn't ready for that.
Come on.
Footy's back.
Footy's back, yeah. All right, well, we'll talk about football and all the other things not related to crypto next week.
Oh, it's my wedding anniversary today.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Mrs. Fletcher as well.
Yep, she won't be watching this until a few days at least, so it's probably pointless, but anyway, happy wedding anniversary.
Oh,
anyway.
Sweet.
Congratulations. How many years, Nick?
13.
13. Wow, congratulations. That's good.
Robbery.
Let's time for armed robbery. Well, you're in the safe zone now, so I shouldn't be probably talking about this, but you know what? I've already committed to it, so let's just go for it. If you make it past 7 years, then you're probably stuck for life.
Yeah, right.
That's really
statistically.
Statistically, yeah.
Does that mean the 14th year is going to be rough?
No. So if things come to a head, and if you make it past 7 or 8 years, then it's clear sailing. So if you're going to bust up,
so I can do anything.
Yeah, so
I can get away with whatever I want.
So she's stuck with you now.
Yeah. She can't. We've got kids, so...
Yeah. I guess you're stuck with them anyway.
Yeah.
Unless you disappear.
Damn,
you can always
kids.
disappear.
Have you seen that video where it's a husband and wife chatting on the couch and the husband says, I've thought about it. I'm in the point of my life where I just don't want kids. And she goes, I agree. Let's go tell them.
Yeah, nice. Well, congratulations. We'll see you next week. Jared, thank you. Nick, thank you. Thank you for stopping by, Skynet, and everyone else. Vibe investing. Yes. Go for it.
I mean, yeah, okay. Let's not talk about that. We'll bring that one up next week.
No vibe investing.
See you later.
Lee and Nick with the moonshot flow. Dispatch live, let the market glow. Crypto vibes where the numbers show. To the moon we go, let the podcast blow. Digital coins, we dissect them quick. Blazing insights, Lee and Nick. Price prediction sharper than a sword. Macro games, we break the board. The moonshot, dispatch, hear it loud. Crypto news making waves in the crowd. Stack your sats, let the market react. Stay ahead as we plan and enact. Volatility flips, we call the game. Market cap moves, never the same. Blockchain buzzing, the future's